Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. I am AdamMcKola. Hope you guys are all doing well. We are back with some transfer news as we hear Marcus Rashford is being linked with a move to Paris Saint-Germain. We've also got updates on Cody Gakpo and of course Adrien Rabiot as well, and we will discuss that in this video. Before we go any further though, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Help us hit 150,000 subscribers. That's our next target, so get hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already, and of course, as always, get your thoughts in the comments below on everything that we discuss in this video. As I said, we've got a few things to discuss, but the main thing I want to discuss today is this talk that Marcus Rashford could be on his way to Paris Saint-Germain. Now, where has it come from? We hear from L'Equipe via Manchester United France on Twitter, MUnitedFR on Twitter, that Paris Saint-Germain are targeting Marcus Rashford. Contacts have been made with his entourage and discussions are progressing positively. Now we hear that from L'Equipe. Now what we hear is contacts have been made with his entourage, that means his agents, and discussions are progressing positively. Now we know, I think Marcus Rashford's contract expires quite soon and we've got the option for an additional year on that. But there's discussions over a new contract for Marcus Rashford, and PSG have been linked with him on a number of occasions. Now we hear talks with his agents have progressed positively, but that doesn't mean Manchester United are open to selling the player. And that's one of the things that I think will obviously come into play here. Yes, you hear that PSG are targeting him. Yes, you hear discussions with his agents basically have progressed positively. And that's just reports, by the way. It might not be true. It might be true. It could just be to, you know, boost those contract negotiations with Manchester United, or it could be that the player is open to a fresh start. Now, a fresh start for Marcus Rashford, who's been in horrible form over the last 12 to 18 months, will probably be a good thing. But I'm one of those that's of the opinion that there's a player in there somewhere. We've seen great talent in Marcus Rashford. We haven't seen it so much recently. He looks, like he's lacking confidence. He's frustrated at times. And the goals have kind of dried up for him. And I hope, and I still hope, that Erik ten Hag can be the coach that gets Marcus Rashford back to his best. I believe our attacking players will thrive under Erik ten Hag, and hope that Marcus Rashford's one of those. Obviously the performance recently wasn't great, and last season wasn't great. But I hope that, he can get that fresh start at United under Erik ten Hag. Marcus Rashford has to work for it though. He has to earn a bigger contract at Man United. And yes, a move to PSG could be good for him. Could be good for United to get a transfer fee in. Not yet. The timing wouldn't be right for me, and I wouldn't give up on Marcus Rashford. But I know, I'm probably in the minority, or it's probably quite split, because a lot of people have the opinion that Marcus Rashford isn't good enough for Manchester United. I just think we've seen so much from him. His goal scoring ability, his ability to create goals, the explosive pace, the skill and trickery at times as well. We've seen so much from him to suggest there's a player in there. The goals that he's scored as well, count the season scoring 20 plus. I think when you add all those things together, I only think it's really been one bad season as well. When you look at the other season, I think his form dipped, but he's still contributed in terms of goals and assists. Last season was bad on both ends, statistically and in terms of form. And I think you don't give up on Marcus Rashford, and you don't give up on talent like that. And there's a reason why a club like Paris Saint-Germain would be in for him. And unless they want to give us Kylian Mbappe or Neymar or someone like that, I'd say no at this stage if I was Manchester United. And I assume we'll trigger that contract extension, or we'll, offer him a new deal at some point soon. But interesting to hear PSG are in for him. But if I was Man United, I'd say hell no. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you disagree with me or not? And when you look at United's, even if you think Marcus Rashford isn't good enough for United in the long term, United aren't in a position to be letting go of attacking players. We have nobody in those positions. We have Rashford, Sancho, Martial, Ronaldo. Then you're looking at the likes of Ilanga, Garnacho, etc. United need players in that position, and that's why we've been linked with Cody Gakpo. And we hear MUFC are considering Cody Gakpo, but it's still not made an offer. PSV would be expected to sell if an offer went up to around £40 million, £42 million, something like that. And those are the reports at this moment in time. But there's been other reports where it seems kind of intertwined with the Frenkie de Jong deal. that Manchester United are still holding out, whilst they're pessimistic. They're still holding out hope that Frenkie de Jong will join the club. And if that happens, there'll be less budget available to sign the likes of an attacking player. And therefore, you'd probably have to knock Cody Gakpo on the head. Now, that's an issue in itself because United need attackers anyway. Now, maybe you go a little bit further down in terms of your options and you get a cheaper option. But as soon as we go in for an attacker, clubs are going to quote us 30, 40 million starting anyway. So it's a worry that if we were to get Frenkie de Jong, whilst that would be a great signing and I really want us to sign him, that would mean that it affects our other, positions in terms of who we're going to buy. But yeah, Cody Gakpo seemingly linked with that. That won't probably happen later in the window. We've also got PSV playing against Rangers in the Champions League qualifier. That ends, I think, around the 24th of August, the second leg. So maybe nothing will happen on that front with that until then. That's sorted and Frenkie de Jong sorted. Something that could be wrapped up soon is Adrien Rabiot. And Julien Laurent has been reporting that now that John Myrtle and Veronique Rabiot are both in Turin, Adrien Rabiot's move to Manchester United could move forward quicker. We also heard he was linked with Monaco. They were knocked out of the Champions League by PSV, which has weakened their hand in terms of negotiations for Rabiot. So it looks like he could be coming to Manchester United in a deal worth around £15 million. He'd be an improvement on the likes of McTominay in that position. Would it be the level of improvement that we need to compete with those teams in and around us? I'm undecided on that. Obviously, he's played quite regularly for Juventus, played quite regularly for PSG, but is he going to add that well to the Premier League? I don't know. Obviously, it's not a huge investment in terms of wages. There's also been talk about how he could unsettle the dressing room. Let's see. The manager seemingly wants him, and it looks like he's going to get him as well. If you're adding Rabiot and De Jong, different story. If it's just Rabiot, I'm not sure we've got enough going into the campaign. And hopefully we will get De Jong, but you start to think no as the window goes on, don't you? And you start to feel a little bit more pessimistic of the deal. Now, it's been reported in England that since Chelsea have gone in, they have kind of received short shift from Frenkie de Jong's representatives and agencies. And with that being said, it kind of suggests they're in the same position as United, and maybe all the talk about them being further ahead isn't true. Obviously, they've got Champions League football, which helps them. It looks like he's going to leave Barcelona. I really hope it's to United, but I'm not as confident as I once was. Talk Sergej Milinkovic-Savic could be the option behind that. I'd be all for that. But I just hope we find out sooner rather than later, because this is really dragging on, isn't it? Really dragging on. And with that being said, I'm not going to drag on. Thank you for tuning in. Let us know your thoughts on everything we discussed. Rabiot, Gakpo, and of course, whether Manchester United should let Marcus Rashford go to PSG. Get your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you're keeping it locked. Until next time, I've been AdamMcKola. I'm out of here.